The true story about the unbelievable will to survive after a 1972 plane crash in the Andes Mountains leaves a rugby team from Uruguay stranded with no hope of rescue. I was aware of the bullet point highlights from this horrible tragedy, but I had never seen the 1990s movie Alive starring Ethan Hawke or read any of the books about it. Even though I haven't seen Alive, I can 100% guarantee that Society of the Snow is a much better movie and features much more realism to the actual events of this tragedy. For starters, the plane crash at the start of this film may be the most intense plane crash that I have ever seen in a movie. The way it is edited and the amount of destruction in such a short time reminds me of the car crash scene from the beginning of Final Destination 2. Now, of course, the plane crash is just the beginning. When I started this, I had no idea how long these people would be stranded or if anyone survived, which made this a very intense watch for me. The far shots of the Andes Mountains going on for miles in every direction without any sign of plant or animal life were beautiful. Sometimes the camera would zoom out so far you could no longer see the plane or the people. Just try to put yourself in their shoes. It's 1972. No one has cell phones, obviously, and the plane's radar capabilities made looking for it the equivalent of finding a needle in a haystack. No one had a compass to tell them which direction they needed to walk to find civilization, and because they were going to Chile, which is on the beach, no one really packed winter clothes. The Andes Mountains are cold in the winter, and temps can drop below zero and get pretty windy. There was no shelter. Also, as most people probably know, there was also no food, so the survivors had to resort to eating shoelaces, leather seats, and more taboo items. At 2.5 hours long, this movie is on the long side, and because we are following these stranded plane crash survivors, parts of the movie feel long and tedious, but at the same time the movie flew by. I was never bored because I couldn't wait to see what would happen next, how they would solve the next problem, and how the bond between the survivors would grow. A lot of people survived the plane crash, and because most of them were in their early 20s and rugby players, I did have a hard time telling them apart, and because of that I never felt a true emotional connection to any one person. Instead, I felt more of an emotional connection to the group of survivors as if they were a single entity. I was very vested in the story, and as soon as it ended, I hopped over to Wikipedia to read about the real events. The movie got most of the details spot on. My one complaint is that the only place you can watch this right now is Netflix, and Netflix is notorious for compressing the video files to shrink the size to make them easier and cheaper to stream. When a movie like this is so full of blue skies and white snow, all of that compression of the video file adds a lot of grainy artifacts to the screen that I didn't really care for. Now, it didn't take me out of the movie at all. I'm just really needing Netflix to step up their game in streaming HD and 4K content. Society of the Snow is one of the best movies of 2023, and it's one of the best movies about survival that I've ever seen. If this was a made-up story, it would be unbelievable. The fact that it's true is just mind-blowing. Not having warm clothes in winter, recreating iconic photos, waving at a passing plane,